Alright everyone, here's a little update on the clip operation here. It's all welded on and the tin is back in the inside corners. Just a little fluffing and buffing with some primer. Clean it up a little bit. Got the sheet metal back together pretty good up here. Had to put some, add some sheet metal in between some of those larger gaps when I welded it up. This is the other side over here, how that all looks, just in primer. There's the frame rails back together and ground out and filled a little bit with a little material. This is the outer stuff has been welded on. Underneath, this piece of tin had to be welded back this way, and of course the frame rails had to be welded back to the bulkhead, and then down here welded all the way around the bottom side of the frame rails. So it's ready to go, and anybody who was doubting that these two cars were not alike, that'd be that one over there. Now let's take a look real quick. So figure really quickly, just hang a fender on this thing, see how it goes. Should have an alignment hole over here. Just drag it back. It's a little tough to do. There it is, just hung on real quick. And see right here, there's the hole for the bolt up on the fender, right underneath there. And you can see the contour of the inner fender matches perfectly with the inner frame rail, upper frame rail here of the Magnum. So beauty's only skin deep with this one for sure. That's a good platform. No reason to go away from it to make another car. They did a good job. Anyway, that's a little update on this. There's another thing I want to show you real quick. Again, there's a fella out in Texas who's looking to maybe skin a Challenger with some Dodge Charger, 69 Dodge Charger sheet metal. And we've determined probably the best thing to do, the Charger skins are like 26 inches from top to bottom, would be to hang it from just below this belt molding, because the glass in this car changes shape just as it gets beyond this belt molding, so you have to keep the belt molding. If you do that, you can come in right about below this A-post, and the old Charger door will hang down to roughly this area here. So there's about 2 inches you can trim off this and get rid of this. Then there's another issue of, that way you can keep all the innards. You can keep the door regulators, and you can keep the lock mechanisms, everything intact. I'll do some modifying, put a new bulkhead to take in the profile, of course. But what would have to be done is the old Charger skin would probably need another inch of top to bottom length. Then on the inside over here, hope I'm not making you dizzy. You'd have to go across the bottom of the car and cut the rocker roughly about here all the way down the car. It's a little more difficult back there because there's a really hefty frame rail back there. But what you would do, or make that all blend out, because these cars are a whole lot taller looking from the side than the old Chargers. As I made up this diagram, this is a profile of what the frame rail looks like. Here's the inner floor pan, And unlike the old Chargers where the floor pan was on the top side, this floor pan is pretty deep and it's at the bottom of the frame rail. Well, this is a pinch weld here, and the sheet metal comes around in a C shape, or a hat channel, down to here. And then this is the outer piece, and there's a plastic rocker cover that goes on here that meets up with the door, and the door comes down in this general vicinity here. So what you would have to do is cut it off here, and then cut it off over here right at the floor. It leaves a big empty space. And then come back inside here, take a piece of 1/8 inch wall 3x3 steel, run the entire length of the rocker for strength, weld it on the bottom side about 1 inch up from what is the floor pan. This gives you a new pinch weld that's deeper, and you can't see it because you'll see this area standing up anyway. So this will give you a little more depth, or excuse me, it'll narrow the car up in this direction, top to bottom. So you put the 3x3 in there, the full length, weld it on the bottom, then you have to drill in from the inside and put some rosette welds to grab it from this side, because it'd be very difficult to get onto the top side and weld it over here. Then you get a repop rocker from the Charger once your door was mounted, and you can see wherever it blended in to the door, and then run it out this way, and then down and attach the sheet metal to the outer rocker, and weld it up over here, clean it up, drill some holes for drainage, and you've taken something that's pretty big and bulky and tall, and you've made it a little bit more concise. People worry about that a little bit because of the frame rail stiffness, but truthfully, it was pointed out to me that most of the strength of this car, front to rear, is in that gigantic tunnel right there, and across also these cross members over here coming out to the inner frame rail. So that's really where most of the rigidity of the chassis comes from, is that big box in the middle. But you don't want to compromise the car, so best to add back a little strength if you can. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.